Welcome back. Let me just get right into this tutorial for the Naruto Sasuke costume. Very easy. Like I said in my community post, I'm not going to worry about the pants because that can just be like sweats or joggers or something you can buy at the store. So I'm not too worried about that, and neither was the person who hired me to do this. So let me just kind of go over a few of the ingredients. So I went to Joann's, and for the wrap that he wears, I got this navy fleece. It's not a heavy fleece, it's a light fleece. So I'll be using that for the wrap. So in this tutorial, we'll kind of work backwards. Usually I start from the top bottom, but I think we're gonna go from the bottom to the top. I just feel like doing that in this case. Also, I got, this is, I believe, from let me look at the receipt. One of their Kona cottons, which is like the better brand of, let me see. Yeah, it was a Kona cotton, and I got this in steel. That's the name of the color, it's steel. So as with everything, always, this is my, rule of thumb here. Always get like about a quarter fabric more than what you need, because you have to pre-wash, and the pre-wash will shrink it. So that way, if you don't get a yard and you need exactly a yard, you're not left with 7/8 after you pre-wash it, or 3. I mean, some fabrics shrink a lot more than others, and some really don't. So, and I never really know. I just do it. It just happens to me like that. Also, you're going to need a t-shirt transfer. I have light t-shirt transfer sheets, and that's going to be for the back of the zip down top. This character has that emblem on the back. And then also for the front, I got a separating sport zipper because it does look quite chunky in the picture. So I got this chunky, and it does have to be separating, so that way the person can like put it on and take it off. Of course, your threads. Also, since this fabric is it's steel, it's like a dark gray, these light or dark t-shirt transfers are a hit and miss with me, because sometimes I'll get them and I'll use them and they work fine, just I guess depending on what colors have been printed out for whatever I printed out, and other times it looks like crap. So what I like to do is I kind of like to make a patch. So once I get the picture down on my laptop, I'm going to do a couple test runs just on regular printer paper, because you never want to do test runs on this. Like if you mess up, you only get 3 sheets. You don't want to be wasteful. And then, so what I do, so that's how I do it. So once I get the sizing correct, I'm going to do about the size of just like an 8x11, which I think is like a printer paper size. Once I get that correct, then I'll print it out on the light t-shirt transfer, and then I am going to iron it on just plain white fabric, and then I'll cut it out, and that's how I'm going to do the patch on the back. And it always works for me better that way. You do have to sew it on, like I said, it's a patch, unless another thing you could do, if you don't want a light t-shirt transfer, they do sell printable fabric sheets that are iron on, and you can get those as well. I believe they're just a little bit more expensive than if you were just do like the t-shirt transfer sheets, but they do sell printable fabric at the store. So it really depends. Like I already had this, so I'm going to use the white, but these are 2 ways that you could do for the emblem on the back. So now that I have pre-washed my fabrics, I'm going to go ahead and iron them, because you do not want to be cutting or making your patterns out and then cutting them on wrinkled fabric. So let me go ahead and iron all of this, and then we'll go ahead and get started on the skirt wrap. So here, normally I would have my gift wrapping paper, but I just looked in my closet and I'm all out, and I almost pulled out my grocery ads. But again, I had switched to wrapping paper because it's so hard to see the markings on the ads. So I'm gonna go ahead and do it like this. I'm gonna do it on the fabric I would recommend, if you are not sure or not experienced in just doing it, like winging it like I am, use this method that I'm doing on gift wrapping paper, and then maybe try it on like nasty, ugly fabric. And then once you're happy with it, then go back and cut your good fabric. So I'm gonna have this in 2 pieces, because if I need to shape the back side, because this is for a woman, she does have curves. I don't want weird bubbling or anything like that. So I do want to kind of form it to her body. If you're a guy or you don't care about that, you might want to do this on the fold of your fabric, but I'm going to do it this way. So I have this folded right now. It's going to be in 2 pieces. I'm going to go by the hip measurement, and I have to do 40. So what I'm going to do, because according to the pictures that I pulled up, so like I just noticed that the picture I put in my community post was not the picture that she had sent me, because the one she had sent me was that picture, but it had the wrap skirt around it. So my apologies, I just realized that right now. So I'm working with 40, but I'm gonna make it a little bit longer, because in that photo it has a scrunch elastic back. So I'm gonna implement that in this thing here. So 40 divided by 2 is 20, but like I said, I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger. So I'm gonna make it 40, let's go 44. I'm gonna do 44. And the beautiful thing about this is that if you mess up, you can always trim the curved areas in the front. We'll get to that later if need be. So 44 divided by 2 is 22. So let's do that. So I'm gonna make a long line here. I'm gonna go all the way, here I am, 22. Let me kind of scoop this down so you may see. And let me get you another. So just so you can see, this is a right angle, right? I'm at the edge of where 22 begins. This is just for your eyes so you can see what's going on. So instead of just doing a straight line down, I'm going to angle it just a little bit, just enough so that I can angle it to where it doesn't run off the edge like the selvage, but you know, it is angled as much as I can angle it. In fact, let me pull this down some more so you can see, hopefully. So let me move this. Oh man, okay. So on my notes, it says here, the length of the wrap skirt, the back is 20, but the front is higher. And that's right, because it's a wrap skirt, the front is curved. So yeah, we're gonna have like a high-low thing kind of going on. So don't forget about seam allowances. So if we're gonna have 20, I'm gonna add an inch for the seam allowances. So I'm gonna angle out until I can't angle it anymore, down to 21. Angle. Also, I don't want to include the selvage, so I'll show you how it's angled right now. I wish I had one of those things so I could tell you the degree of angle that I was able to get. But you see, so this is how I angled it, down 21, but I stopped right at the selvage, because you don't ever want to include the selvage. It's just not a soft, nice part of the fabric. So right now we kind of have like an almost trapezoidal thing going on. So now for the high-low part. So I know, and in fact, let me just take this, because sometimes when you're doing it freehand, your eyes can't really tell what's straight, what's angled, you know? So that'll just help me. So let me just make a mark. Where is 20? Well, 20 is right here. So I need to make that shorter than that, right? a marking down. So I just kind of make a marking down so I can see where that beginning of the 90 degrees is. So if you, let me see, if we angle it like this, down here I'm at the end of the point of the 21 inches. So we know it's going to be high-low. So here's, you know me, I'm all about marking midpoint so I can see where I'm at. That's the end point, that's the midpoint between this 90-degree angle and the bottom of the back, which is the 21 inches. So what I'm going to do here is just freehand curve it. Okay, so I'm going to start down here at the end of my 21 inches, which is the back. And the good thing about chalk is that it washes out. So I know that it's shorter than that, so I'm just trying to meet that here. So right now it kind of looks like a circle skirt-ish. Let me try and see if I can come out just a little more. But still meeting this eventually. Oh, and I went crooked. It's okay, it's okay, it's just chalk. All right, I think that's good. I'm going to cut this out now. And then I'm going to just sew this part once I cut it out. And then I'll show you where we're at. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to press this open. Press it nice and flat. And then I'm going to go ahead and do the top of this before I install the elastic. And you'll see that in a moment after I finish this. So I'm just going to fold down, just about 1/2 inch. Just like that. Tack it down. And then once I come back, I'll press it again. I'll press this part flat, and then I'll do a little section of the elastic. I think I'm going to do about maybe 5 inches in length of the elastic. Not too much, just enough to kind of cinch it, just so that way that curve, where it goes your lower back to your butt, so it's not gaping. I want to close out that gape area. So that's what I'm going to put in the elastic. So I cut out a piece of elastic that is about 5 inches, 5 inches and a millimeter maybe, or 1/4, I'm not sure. It's pretty much 5 inches. So what I did is to have it, right in the center, I folded it in half and I put the half point where that back seam is. Again, you know me, I'm always getting stuff lined up in the middle, centered, all that. And then I just made an outline of it so I know where I need to begin. Like if it falls off or something, I don't have to keep doing this. So what I'm going to do, so elastic stretches, right? So you're not just going to sew it on like that. You have to stretch and sew when you do this. So I'm going to mark on each end of what I measured. I'm going to mark back 1.5 inches and 1.5 inches. This new line, or these 2 new lines, is where I'm going to put the beginning of my elastic, and then I'm going to sew it and stretch it to this other line that I made. So I'm going to pull and sew, and then once I do that, then it's going to scrunch. So that's what we're going to do to install that. And then lastly, just going to hem the whole curve of the wrap skirt. I do have to have a fitting with her, so after we hem the whole rest of the wrap skirt, I need to see where the placement of the hook and eye is going to be, Or maybe I'll use Velcro. I'm not sure. Whatever is more comfortable for her, easier, just better to work with since this is a costume. And then that'll be pretty much the end of that. But of course, I'll show what it looks like when we're done. So let's get this elastic out of the way, shall we? So I did 2 printouts, and I think the second one is pretty perfect. It's pretty spot on. So the first time I did the printout, I just selected on the printing part, fill entire page, which is exactly what it did. But to me, she's a small woman. I think it would just take up too much of the back. So I thought this was just a little bit too big. And this one, I went back and I selected, instead of fill entire page, let me try and show you what I did here. I just went scale and I typed in 150%. I think this is a much better size. So now I'm gonna go ahead and put this back on color. I'm gonna put in my transferable sheets and then I'm gonna print it out. So I pressed all the wrinkles out of the white fabric. You definitely don't wanna have any wrinkles, as much as you can avoid. Also, run it through like a lint roller just to make sure you don't trap anything between the fabric and your transfer. So now that I have this ready, I think, hold on, there's a stray right here. I already cut it out, as you can see. You don't want to do the whole sheet, you want to just cut out what was printed. I'm just gonna place that here. Hot iron, no steam, okay? And then just run it back and forth. And then when you think it's sticking, you can kind of like check the corner. And if the color peels off a little bit when you do it, just put it back down and keep heating it until you're able to peel enough back that you can see that the color is transferred to the fabric and nothing is like peeling off as far as the color goes. So here's the emblem cut out. I peeled it off. It did have some fading, like it didn't all come off. So like I said in the beginning, sometimes these are hit or miss. See how these are all, but I talked with the client, I showed her, it's kind of faded, but it looks cool. Like he just came back from battle, like it's distressed. It looks like worn. So it was kind of a happy accident in my case. Like this looks cool to me. And the client agrees. She's like, yeah, it looks like you just came back from battle. So I dig it. You can leave it. So yeah, with these t-shirt transfers, like I said, it is a hit or miss. And I kept this on for a really long time. So I've used it in other times. The picture comes off just fine. So I'm not really sure. Maybe my iron is going out. But anyways, it was a happy accident. It looks cool. And then I'll just do a satin stitch applique it to the back of the shirt when that's ready. So yeah.